The first thing is you identify the pattern of information that's provided. Okay, so what pattern is used? ASA, AAS, SSA, or is it SSS or SS or SAS? So you choose which of these patterns of information is provided. So we have two angles. The side is not opposite either one of them, it's between them. So in this particular case, we see the pattern is ASA. Okay, once we find that pattern of information, what do you think, which of these unknowns do you think is going to be the easiest thing to find? The angle, right? Like, how can we find this missing angle? The unknown angle, we simply take 180 minus the sum of the other angles, right? Because that is the triangle sum. The sum of these angles has to equal 180. So if we just calculate 180, subtract 57, and subtract 23, we get our solution of 100 degrees. Okay, so that's the easiest thing to start with, find the missing angle. Once you find that missing angle, what you can then do is find each of the remaining sides. Using the law of sines. And you're simply going to compare to the known ratio. Okay, so the known ratio is the ratio that gives you both an opposite side and the opposite angle. And so in this triangle, there's only one pair of known information now. After we found all the angles, we can identify the only pair of known information where you have the side and the opposite angle is C. We have side of 12 and the opposite angle of 100. So what we're going to do is we're going to find, we can choose either of these sides. Because it's a side is our unknown, I'm going to start with that. So I'm going to take A over the sine of the angle opposite it. Well, what angle is opposite A? 23. So A over the sine of 23 is equal to our known ratio. My known ratio is 12 over the sine of the angle opposite that, which was 100. And so what we can now do is we can simply use our calculator to solve this calculation. And now, just to make it easier, I'm going to replace replace A with an X just so I can enter it easier on my calculator. But I enter the solve feature, the F2 algebra tab, solve X divided by sine of 23, and set that equal to the known ratio, 12 divided by the sine of 100. I'm going to put a decimal in there so that my answer is displayed in decimal form. Comma X tells the calculator what I want to solve it for. And when I do that, I get my answer of 4.76. And now, is that consistent with what you would have expected? Now, consider what the relationships from geometry that you learned about triangles. In a triangle, the shortest side is opposite the smallest angle. The longest side is opposite the largest angle. Okay, so is it true, would we expect A to be a number that's less than 12? Yeah, because 23 degrees is opposite that compared to 100 degrees. Okay, so now what do we expect if we make a prediction about B? What are we expecting B to be? Is it less than 4.7, greater than 12, or somewhere in between these two? It should be in between, right? Because 57 degrees is between 23 and 100. And so let's repeat this. So we repeat this step 3 a second time to find our angle B. So if we go through and we repeat this. So we take the unknown side B over the sine of the angle opposite it, 57 degrees. Set that equal to our known ratio, which doesn't change. And just calculate that as well. Now, once again, if you just replace the variable with x, it makes it nice and easy. And even easier than that, what's the only difference between these two equations? That's the only difference right there. So I've already entered it in my calculator. If I just go in and I change this number 23 into a 57 and then hit enter, I get my solution. Now, we were expecting this value to be somewhere between 4.76 and 12. We get an answer of 10.22. Is that consistent with what our prediction was? Yeah. Okay, so those are going to be your steps for finding the unknowns in an ASA pattern.